2020 was just so disruptive, so wonky, as I say. And then 2021 has been a journey of getting back to normal, figuring out what normal is,
Yeah.
um,
Catching up.
what's that, catching up, all this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's been filled with an incredible amount of things. And by the way, I see Mako's on, and John Moore was on and was having some trouble, and he was going to pop off and pop back on, but he hadn't joined. And I'm sure we'll have some other folks. But I want to get started because today I'm not doing a presentation. I think when I did this a year ago, a little less than a year ago, about January, I think, for 2020, I kind of went through the high points and then said, here's the workbook to do it. Today, I want to kind of walk through the workbook, and you guys, as the mastermind, I want you to engage with what we're going to talk about as I walk through this, and ask questions. So I know Randy's an expert at asking questions, and Michael, I know you're good at asking questions and getting answers and stuff, and Ricky. So I think it'll be a good exercise, and we'll have this as a recording. And then when I'm done with this, I will put this workbook up again as a PDF in our private Facebook group. And I'll also put a link to that in the recording comments and stuff once I publish this on our show or YouTube channel. Okay, but the intention is for this to be something that will help us going forward, or help you going forward in terms of building your plan for 2022. Now, if you've ever done the Vision Challenge, and I know most of you have, or some version of it, you'll understand that this is the Vision Challenge it's not a one and done exercise. It's something that we should all revisit frequently. And Randy knows this. I don't know how many times Randy's gone through it, but I think, and I go through it periodically myself, just to refresh, evaluate, and so on. So the real key question here, and it says in the beginning of this workbook, is how will you remember this past year? Now, that question that I have, how will you remember this past year? I guess let me put that out as a question, just to kind of ground us a little bit. How do you guys, when you think of 2021, in terms of what you've done, what you've accomplished, whatever, what's your reaction to that? Ricky, since you're driving, can you answer that question? You come off mute and answer that, and then I'll kind of go around.
Well, I say that it was a couple of things. 2021 was, I was relieved that 2020 was over. And then I was excited that that we had our freedom back, that we could move around like I was used to moving around without the restraints and restrictions. And so relieved and excited for the freedom.
Okay. And how did you feel about, and I say feel intentionally, by the way. So when you think about what you were able to accomplish, as you think about, just off the top of your head, 2021, how do you feel about that in terms of how do you feel about what you've accomplished in 2021?
Well, I feel really good because one of my streams of income had completely dried up, which was, I mean, almost completely dried up with the credit card processing merchant services, but it came roaring back, and it's now at a point higher than it was in 2019.
Wow.
And I have new customers and new partners that are referring customers, and it's just like a better than it was kind of thing.
Good. Okay. So that's good. And I'm encouraged and glad that your feelings are positive, and that's a beautiful thing. So Michael, you heard the two questions in terms of, when you think about 2021 and, how do you feel about, when you think about that off the top of your head, and then how do you feel about your accomplishments? And I'm not going to give you much qualification around that of 2021.
So for me, actually 2020 is a celebration. So I'm a unique situation because that was the year I started my business and started working for myself. So I look at it as a success, where most people look at it as an inconvenience, is what I would say. And so I had the courage and the business development, thanks to coaches like Dave and other people that I'm mentoring by, that I could make that step and walk out on that limb. And then I would say 2021 has been very fruitful for me, for a large part based on my network. But this is my busiest time of the year. So this is my harvesting time, is what I call it. And I'm constantly busy. I'm having meeting after meeting to write business. And I know that's due to my network and the tools of helping other people and getting business out of that. So I would say that the last 2 years for me with what I do have been a success.
Great. And that's good. Okay. That's, see, Mako, you've been here. I know you were off camera, but you were here. So same question to you.
Well, looking back, 2021 and currently has been a rebounding year and a sort of a resurgence for me, both personally and in business. It's been one of also learning, not just me, but I know you guys too. I've been learning a lot of new tactics as far as how to do business in this new, what I think is an exciting new playing field, that has enveloped everybody. I have a real heightened sense of urgency now to try to get more things done, and I'm excited about that and happy. And I can't wait to get 2022 started. I know I had mentioned that Art and I are enveloped right now in our little SWOT exercise, researching our strengths, weaknesses, and all that stuff. And we're trying to hone in on our new, marketing and sales techniques for next year. And we're excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's good to see everybody.
It's good to see you, Mako. And again, I always appreciate your PMA, positive mental attitude. And I think that's a kind of a signature of a lot of folks here. And I love that. And it's encouraging. And so, but we're going to get into this workbook, and as positive as we feel, about things, there's some work to do. And if you accept that, and again, I know we're all on a journey. So Dawn, what about you? You heard the questions, I think, or at least heard the answers. So what's your response to those?
I feel like 2021, like Mako, a big learning experience, which I love. I don't want to be bored. So every once in a while, a little boredom's okay, but there was a lot of learning, and I'm still learning, definitely. But it was a great year. Business was good. Networking was good. So I'm really looking forward to 2022 for sure.
Good.
Yep, and ready to learn some new stuff.
That's good. Yeah, it should be a constant learning process. Okay, so John Moore made it back here with us. I don't know if his tech is working any better, but you're on both audio and video on mute, John. So that looks like you got your video worked out.
I'm done. So I can hear you and I can talk.
Okay, so did you understand the questions?
No, I didn't.
Okay, the question is, when I talk about how do you feel, and feel is an intentional thing, how do you feel about 2021? We are getting to the end. That was one of the things that Randy admitted early on, that he looked at this and said, whoa, we're really I mean, I won't quote him, but he said, "Holy crap, this is the end of 2021." So, and then, so how do you feel? How do you feel about 2021? And then how do you feel about what you were able to accomplish in 2021?
How do I feel is very disappointed. I did not accomplish any of my goals. And that's the reason for that is it's my fault. I wasn't persistent. I wasn't consistent about doing the daily activities that got me to that particular goal, set of goals. So it's not something that I'm proud of, but it's something that looking forward to 2022, it's something that I know I can grow from.
Well, all I can tell you, John, is I'm glad you got on the camera because I think, that's a feeling that many of us are at risk of having, regardless of what we, and again, it's a lot of what we focus on. The purpose of this year in review is really not to change the feeling, but I guess, yeah, it kind of is. It really is intended for you to get a holistic view going forward for a foundation for the beginning of 2022. And then when we get to the end of 2022, to be able to maybe be more comprehensive in our feelings. So thank you guys for responding. Randy, do you want to, I mean,
yeah, I'll add
yeah.
a little bit to this. In terms of 2021, because you and I have talked frequently, I look back at 2021 as for me, it was chaos. It was, my family wanting me to slow down and retire and all the rest of that. And I tried to put on a happy face and all the rest of that. But deep inside of me, my inner being was really fighting it tooth and nail, and still to some degree is. On the positive side, there have been some accomplishments. There has been some redirection. I'm still somewhat unsettled with 2022, and exactly where it's going to go. I mean, I will not personally be happy with playing bingo 2 days a week at the senior center. Okay, that's just not me. I enjoy it. It's fun. I have made some nice old friends, but that's, my kids, my wife, they say, but it's time for you to slow down, and they don't understand. You understand, but they don't understand that this is a real struggle for me. So, but it's a work in progress, and I just got to keep working at it, or I'll drive myself crazy, and probably you too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter how you drive me.
You're my friend. I don't want to piss you off.
No, you won't. But my point is, this exercise, and it is an important exercise if you really work through it in this year in review. It really will bring some of those things to light and hopefully give you some encouragement and some solid some things to reference and build the foundation, because a key strategy to accelerating, and using your dream vision, we generally know our identity. If we don't, we know why we're on the planet. Even if you haven't taken the vision challenge, you need to do that. But regardless, inherently, we know why we're here. If you feel it, you'll know. And there's some discontinuity there, in your feelings, if you don't feel like you are fulfilling that life purpose or that unique reason for being here. The other thing is, I think generally speaking, if we really are honest and paying attention, at least if we have a network of people that'll communicate with us, we kind of know the value we provide. I keep reinforcing your value to you all the time because you are good at asking questions. That's you don't know all the answers, but you are very attentive and you listen to what we say, what I say, look at the information. And then you ask good questions that clarify not only for you, but they also clarify for the person. So that's a value, that's a unique value. And not that other people don't ask good questions, it's just that you have that thing and so on. And we each have that unique reason or that life purpose, and we each have the value. The key to what you said, and I'm not, I don't want to pick on you, I'm just saying, you know this because we've talked about it before, is you're never done with that. When you're done,
Right.
it's kind of like with Ricky Jean Wright with the theme song to my podcast. When you get there, you'll know, because you're going to be dead. Okay, so the point is, it's a journey every day, and your life purpose is always part of your journey, right? And then the final thing is we're always refining our ideal day. And that ideal day is includes our business, and listening to what, you know, Don said, Michael said, you know, John, Ricky, everybody, you know, how you feel about that is really dependent on what you focus on. Okay. So you could focus on, and as high performers, as alpha individuals, which looking around the Zoom here, I would conclude for each of you that in your own way, are and attempting to be an alpha person, as a driven entrepreneur or whatever. As entrepreneur, we're either an entrepreneur or a entrepreneur. We have goals, and we want them, but we don't do the work. Well, that's not an entrepreneur. So everybody is doing this. What I heard from Michael, what I heard from Mako, what I heard from is there's some things that are working out. There's some things in your business, but it's a little more. One of the things this process is intended to do, the benefits are to realize, even if you feel good about 2021, that realize that you've accomplished a lot more than you ever give yourself credit for, okay? And that's true. I'm telling you right now, without exception, everybody here, regardless of what you said in that response, I know you've accomplished more, and I've accomplished more in my own life than I give myself credit for, that I feel I have. You understand? Because my feelings are dependent upon what I choose to focus on. And so if I'm focused on, I started a new business like Michael, and I'm going, that makes you, and you're still in business, that makes you feel good. If you're focused on, I had all these things, resolutions, wanted to lose weight, wanted to get more customers, wanted to recruit people, this, that, whatever it is, and that didn't materialize, you might feel badly about 2021. But even if you feel that those things didn't, I guarantee you that there are things that you've accomplished in 2021 that you aren't giving yourself credit for. So that's the purpose of this year in review. The other thing is, we all need that inner confidence to really create a bigger plan or stretch plan for next year. If you don't have that inner confidence, or you feel like you failed and that's your starting point for 2021, then guess what? You're not going to stretch in 2022, because you're wired to protect yourself from pain. Do you understand? So we're all wired to protect ourselves from the pain, if we feel bad, of not feeling worse in 2022. The problem is that is a focus of scarcity, not abundance. And if you're going to build a plan, you should build a plan knowing, as I say in my vision challenge, if anything were possible, what kind of future can I imagine? And as Ricky would say, because he wrote the song, the future isn't a destination, it is a journey. That means that your future is, what, if anything were possible, would my ideal day begin to and evolve to look like in 2022? What would make up that ideal day? And at the end of 2022, then what kind of results, if anything were possible, would I hope to see? And the thing is, the starting point should be a feeling of abundance. You should realize that even though there are things that you didn't get done, and that's what we tend to focus on, and you know, our brain's wired that way. We don't want to feel bad, right? So the purpose of this year in review process, and it is a process, is to really ground ourselves in what we have accomplished. Does that make sense? Any comments on that before I move on? Because again, this is a mastermind. This isn't Dave Roberts telling you. I work with clients on this all the time. What questions arise or any comments? Dawn?
I just want to say we had that one mastermind where we talked about, and Mako, I remember your comment about thinking of your blessings. I believe you did it in the morning, Mako. I think, and anyway, and I did mine in the evening, but I was just thinking, you know, like that's the kind of like the starting the new year. Like I've had days where I felt just like John, you know, or, you know, and it's what you choose, like you said, David, what you choose to go forward with. So what were those little nuggets of goodness in the year, and start there and woo, rock it.
Great. Go ahead, Michael.
So you can always look at a negative as an opportunity. So Randy, I'll give you I said this on the chat, but you have to have a purpose to live well. So the Mako knows this. I've been, my aunt was struggling for the last 2 months with her health. And I went down there and prayed over her because I wanted positivity in the room. Because as much as the doctors have the knowledge and the techniques, you need people to have a desire or a willingness to get better. Now, unfortunately, she did pass Wednesday night, but still I looked at it as an opportunity. I called my aunt that's planning the funeral and offered an opportunity for me to speak at her funeral. So it's one of those things where you always look at a negative situation as an opportunity, not as a positive. I think that's sometimes a word that we use, and it almost guilts people into, well, I don't have the right perspective. And like Dave says, that puts you in that zombie world, because there are times when you're coping with loss that you can be tempted to go into that zombie world of, oh no, my family members are passing away. I am, you know, X amount of years in this world. What have I accomplished? And that's exactly the zombie mentality of where you paralyze yourself rather than going forward and looking at opportunities to help people and help people with what you know and how you grow.
That's beautiful, Michael. And thank you for sharing that, because I can't agree with you more in that really you need that fuel. The thing is, it's a journey every day, and every day, at least for me, and Dawn, thank you for sharing, and Mako, you know, you shared before, is that it is, you know, one of those things where we need to wake up and remind ourselves each day. So part of this is getting to the end of the year and not losing track of what we did accomplish over the last year. And it's worth, this is the other thing I'm going to encourage you, is as much as we want to continue as warriors to focus forward and not think about the last year, or maybe we do want to think about it. Either way, you don't want your destiny to be your history. You understand? You don't want your even if you feel good about your history to some degree, it's a journey forward. And so you really want to build on, if you feel good, beautiful, build on that, make it better. If you feel bad, don't let that hold you back. Find the things that you can feel good about that will give you that daily energy to move forward. Any other comments or thoughts about where we're at? Because I want to get into it, but we've got a minute. Go ahead, Mako.
Just a quick comment. This is directed to primarily toward John. I don't know if he's still listening. I can't.
Yeah,
see
John's
him.
on.
Okay, but I just want to say it took a lot of courage and to say what he had to say about where he's at and everything. And I just hope, John, you don't carry that all on your shoulders, and you reach out to this just a bevy of people here that are here to help support you and stuff. And, it's just one step at a time, maybe changing one habit here, changing this or that, that'll get you back on track to achieving all those goals that you want. But certainly don't think you're on an island by yourself, because that's the worst thing you can do, especially when you're surrounded by people that care about you, like us here in this group today, and all the other folks around you. So
Yeah,
keep fighting
John, you're on.
keep
John,
fighting
you're
the
on
good
mute.
fight.
John, your lips are moving and I'm not hearing, so you're on mute. Just unmute.
Thanks for saying that, because I tend to isolate myself, and that especially if you're widowed like I am, and it's easy to isolate yourself, and you start to feel like you're by yourself, and you start to really get down on yourself. So I really appreciate that. And so what you point out is one of the I guess one of the character flaws or something that I inherently or by default kind of developed is just to isolate myself. It's not healthy. I know that. So thank you.
Well, and John, I appreciate you saying that, because you really give me an opportunity to explain. I had a conversation with somebody and I said, are you going to join the mastermind? And that hasn't made it to the mastermind. And the comment that came back, and I'm not going to mention their name because they're a friend and it was our conversation, but they said, I don't need to get together with a group of people to tell me what I need to do. I already know what I don't need, or what I'm not doing right. I don't need to that. I already know what I need to do. And once I get to where I'm doing what I know I need to do, then I'll be ready maybe to join the mastermind and hear that. And all I can tell you is that ain't what this is about. And that's not what networking is about. Mako, that was a beautiful thing you said, an encouragement to John. And it really is a statement of the reason we're doing this mastermind format and we're doing this way is because life is a team sport. I mean, if you show up to a networking with, okay, this is me, this is what I got, I want what I need, I'll help if it occurs to me, and keep moving down, you're probably not showing up right. So this is really where the rubber meets the road. And this is where we each show up to serve each other, as well as get some fuel for our own journey. And one of those fuels is to be reminded if we can't remind ourselves in our own mind, because it's 95% of our thoughts are the same ones we had yesterday, and those are all geared towards keeping us safe. And keeping us safe in our mind is not feeling pain. And if we feel pain because we didn't accomplish something, then your mind is going to not let you go beyond that. It's going to stall you. So in fact, that comment was indicative of why that individual will continue to struggle with the things that they haven't accomplished, that they don't want to be reminded of, because they're not willing to swim in the pool of people who really care about them and want to try and help them forward. So again, I'm not being critical. So let me do this. I'm going to keep moving because I really want to make sure. I want you to understand this workbook and I want you to do it. So first of all, list the first step one is a review, and it's a brainstorm. Everybody, I think, here has participated in a brainstorm. If you haven't participated in a brainstorm, there's no analysis, there's no judgment, there's no qualification, editing, any of that kind of stuff, right? You go through a process, and your goal here for the step one is to list 50. You should be able to list 100. I used to start out with 100, and I'm giving you guys a lower bar because hopefully you'll keep coming to the masterminds, and if you have trouble getting 50, we can work through that and then push it beyond that. But you should be able to come up with 50 wins in 2021. John, no matter how you feel today, or you feel good, you feel bad, come up with 50 wins. Start out with the book and just turn off whatever the distractions you have. Meditate for a few, some amount of time to ground yourself, and let yourself think about the things that you were able to accomplish in 2021. No qualifications, no categorization. I didn't say business, did I not? I said the wins that you had in 2021, and list 50 of them. Okay. If you can't get to 50, then schedule one-to-one. I'll help you. But you need 50, and the thing is, you really don't need me. You've got them. They're in your head. So get them on paper. As I always say in the vision challenge, you need to write it down and write those wins down. Just writing them down, trust me with this, writing them down will encourage you.
And they don't have to be earth shattering either.
No wins. I didn't say big wins, little wins.
Right.
I just said wins. It can be that I'm getting up an hour earlier. It can be, I set out to lose 100 pounds and I lost 5. Whatever, it's a win. It's progress. It's a journey, right? And so it could be that I was having issues with one of my children and I don't have issues. I weathered a storm with this or that. It doesn't, there's no quantification. You with me? So list 50 wins. All right. That's step 1. So I'm not going to wait for you to do that because it might take you, but it shouldn't take, honestly. I've gotten pretty good at this. I can write down 100 wins in less than an hour. As I reflect, that come off the top of my mind, because I need the encouragement. I need to remind myself that I'm not as deficient as maybe the world will tell me or my zombie brain will tell me. Okay. So then once you've done that step, then I call it the step 2 is really a comprehensive review. So then go look at your calendars, your journals, anything that hopefully you're doing some of this. If you're not, maybe that ought to be on your list for 2022, because these are all tools for, basically documenting your journey, right? So, but then go to, these are, by the way, the categories that we have in the vision challenge is your body. This is your physical well-being. When I talk about yourself, it's your mindset and those things, and come up with what you would consider. Now that you have a list of 50, okay, with me? You've got a list of 50, and then you look back over theirs and you highlight in those 50 pertaining to your body, your health, your physical health, or whatever. What are the 3 major wins? Now you have a little bit of some latitude to evaluate, right? Highlight all of what you would consider major wins for your physical well-being, because, I think it's Marv that often says it's your health that's your greatest wealth, or whatever. Again, being physically healthy is important. If you haven't prioritized that this last year, then you need to think about that. Maybe that's a part of your plan for 2022. It's definitely, with all of the noise we've got around illnesses, viruses, this and that and the other thing, it's really important to prioritize that. If we haven't learned anything in 2020 and 2021, it's that part of our comprehensive wins we need to not lose focus on. The second one is self. This is your self, your mindset, your how you're feeling, your level of depression, anxiety. What wins do you have? How's your mindset going? How's your feeling of well-being? So we talk about feeling, and those kinds of things. Your spiritual. We all need to be connected to, this isn't church necessarily or anything else, but we need to be connected to a higher source. We need to be outside of our own self. We need to be developing our own spiritual well-being. And so what things, maybe if you're like me, I'm about 28 days away from completing reading through the Bible again this year. I mean, I have, that's what I do every year. I go through it, I read the whole thing. I have a process to do that, and I do a little bit every day. If you don't do that, that's okay. That's just me. I measure, on a daily basis, and I frankly, if I don't do some of those things myself on daily basis, the day doesn't go as well. Just for me. Again, I'm not preaching or teaching anybody to do anything, but I'm just saying, think about it. But you probably did some things. Maybe you did some things. Maybe you're more focused on your community. Maybe you decided you were going to serve your Rotary or your, whatever part of the community, or you did this. Those are network, but they're also, they serve you as well. So what are those, would you consider 3 wins in that area? When you look around in the space, if you're at home right now or in your office, or, your work life, the home and the work life, sometimes in the world that we're in now, they're the same. You have a home, I'm in my home, but I'm also in my office. Okay.
Mhm.
So, when you look around, or you reflect on the last year, how has that improved? How has your home environment improved over the last year? Are there things in the wins that you were able to do? Maybe you got a little more organized. Maybe you minimalized. Maybe you did this or that. Whatever it happens to be. Your finances, how are those? What have you? Maybe you paid off a debt. Maybe you increased, a little bit of income. Maybe you didn't go bankrupt. I don't know, whatever it happens to be. It can be anything, right? Because it's not up to, this isn't for me. This is for you and writing it down. But what are the 3 major? I'm looking to kind of narrow in. These are the 3 major things. Looking at your business operations. Michael mentioned his business. Mako mentioned his business. The thing is, there are things in there that you feel good about. There are things that, and what are the 3 major things? Creating your business, launching your business, being, whatever it happens to be. That's usually when I'm talking to people that are entrepreneurs and stuff, that can be the overriding thing, but do not discount the other aspects. All I can tell you is, think of it as a wheel. Think of it as a tire in your car. There are things about all of these things when you do your year in review that inspire you in each segment, okay? The flip side of that is, I'm sure there are things that expire you in each of those segments. Inspire is putting energy, or if it was a tire, air in. Expire is air out or energy out, right? So I want you to focus on the energy in. I want you to focus on the things that are inspiring you in each of those areas. So your work life, what does that look like? Is it different than 2021? Did you improve? Have you figured out how to integrate Zoom into your world? Have you figured out how to integrate online and offline networking and maybe focus your networking activities, but whatever it happens to be, right? What does that work life look like? And then some of you have moved or changed your geography or whatever. Sometimes, it can be just the environment that you're surrounding yourself with. Maybe you move to a different part of town. Maybe you're in the same part of town, but that may not be that big. But any of those areas will help give you some maybe clearer insight into what it is. So do that part after you've done this. Your office workspace, maybe you've learned some new technology, your life partner, and then say spouse or whatever it could, but whoever is on the journey with you primarily, how's that work? What are your wins there? Don't forget them. Your family, your kids, your grandkids, whatever. What are the wins there? Relationships with close friends. All these things are important. Your environment, again, it's more than just where you're living, but also the environment how have you improved that? The experiences, did you take a vacation? I think a lot of people would say one of the wins was, I just got back from flying to Kansas City to see my 90-year-old mom. I didn't get to do that last year. I mean, that was a win. right? That's a win for 2021 for me. Don't want to forget that. Had the space to do that. I feel good about that. The clients and partners, you've got new clients. You know, we lose a client. You know, one of the things of working with one of my clients, and there's been some erosion of clients, and then we need new clients. And if you focus on the clients you lose, aside from learning, where they went and why, maybe there was a reason. If that's all you focus on, then it kind of can be paralyzed. So you need to think about, again, focus forward, evaluate, your wins and so on. Community. If you're not serving your community, you should be, but I think most of you are. I mean, I know everybody here in your network, you're part of this network. And to me, network and community are overlapping, but network we tend to think of as our clients, our partners, our associates, and those kinds of things. But it to me, it's very holistic. So community and network are similar. So take the three, top three in your community and then your network. And then once we've done that, then we are ready for step 3, which is plan your year ahead. Now, this is December 3rd, 2021. So my challenge to you in the next little less than a month, and we all get some downtime in this, and we got family and there's other things that we got going, right? To take the time to do this and then sit down in each of those areas. Remember, I said, give me the top 3 in each of those areas for 2021. I'm looking at, now I'm making it a little easier for you, is take the top 2 goals, if you will, or things that if you got to the end of 2022, that you would like to say you've achieved. Does that make sense? So that's the step 3. But I don't want you, do these in order. You've got to trust me a little bit and trust the process, because if you build this way, if you build step 1, step 2, step 3, as opposed to saying, well, I got 10 things on my list, of 50, and I got 1 or 2 things in these other areas, and I'm ready to go plan for next year. If you do that, you still may I probably will accomplish things, but it will be less intentional. It will be less powerful and less impactful for you. And I want it to be as good as it can be. The other thing I will say is those in this mastermind, this will give us a real tool for having conversations, specifically if we want to have one-to-ones or whatever, or talk about, hey, this is an area. All of these areas, when you talk to clients, I still, as always amazes me with, working with people who, back when I was working with CEOs and they're running, multi-billion-dollar companies and they're all this stuff, and you say, okay, their vision, guess what comes into play? Relationships, spiritual issues, mindset issues. It doesn't matter how big your job is, doesn't matter how smart you are, how important. All these things kind of fit together, right? So the real intention here is to have you walk through that. And then when you get to step 3, you're ready for step 3. And then when you get those down, you can't do everything you're going to list on step 3 immediately. So then we can talk about, okay, here's all the things that I would like to accomplish in 2022, the top 2 in each of these areas, right? What would be my next best step with no regrets? I'm going to take this step. Where do I start? Make sense? So that's the workbook that you have. And I wanted to make sure we got through that. We got time. So now that I've kind of run through that, I know I heard some of you printing off the workbook, and I know, Randy, you've got it, and your brilliance in asking questions. What questions, comments do you have? Randy, you want to start?
Well, I guess the thing that a suggestion, perhaps rather than a question, is if you're stuck ask one of the people on this mastermind today, David, me, anybody else, because none of us, I don't think anybody, maybe even David, but I doubt that nobody could sit down and actually just bing, 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 just fill these out with awe-inspiring thoughts and things that I'll knock these out in the first 30 days. You know what? And if there's, no pain, no gain, if there's no struggle in implementing some of these things, then maybe those challenges weren't really challenges for you. You're just repeating stuff you did last year. And there's nothing wrong with building on what you did last year and expanding it and making it a bigger part of your business, or expanding your business to incorporate different products or different markets or different sales techniques or different anything. But I think the important message that I get for this, and I'm struggling with this because I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to be when I grow up now that I'm retired? And my wife would really rather I'm not on this call, because she would rather that I would just focus on retirement. And so would my kids. But, at 74 years old, I am what I am. And I am, I think, what God put me here for. And I'm just not going to walk away from that. So I'm searching for some maybe new categories. What things I'm involved in the Plano senior, I call it the senior center. They have a Sam Johnson Rec Center. I'm trying to find ways that I can get involved there, that I can help, that I can use my skills and get something out of it, get happy. So, look under the rug, look in the drawers, pull out the drawers, look in places that you haven't looked before for inspiration. I guess that would be my message.
Yeah. Any other questions or any comments or whatever? Thank you, Randy. That's good. One of the things you said, by the way, and just to reinforce step one, is there should be nothing, again, it's wins of any type. So they don't have to be brilliant. They don't have to be awe-inspiring or any of that kind of stuff. So just make sure you don't make that list. When I say I can list 50, 100, I could, some of them you're like, well, you consider that a win? It's, you might look at it, but it's not what anybody else feels about. It's me. Michael, go ahead.
You're on mute, Michael.
I would actually encourage, I know Dave said try to do it yourself, but I should encourage you to meet with somebody, because at least for me, I'm always close. And if I'm too close, I become very intense. So if I have somebody that I sit down with and say, this is, what are you thinking and what am I thinking, and kind of brainstorming it, sometimes that's more helpful than trying to do it in seclusion, because at that point you are tempted to go down the zombie route rather than, being in a collaboration of friends that are trying to be better.
Yeah.
Excellent point, Michael.
Dave, something you said that helped me a lot is parts of my year, a good part of the areas of my life have been disappointing. But out of the 50 wins, you prompted me to think of even within the defeats, there are wins that we can take out of that, and that certainly helps to motivate to turn it around. Thank you.
If you're still standing and you're still breathing, that's a win.
That's right. By the way, Randy, you're talking about being retired, and I tell people I retired the moment I read the word in the Bible. and the closest I found is in Leviticus, about chapter 18, talks about a handful of Levites that have outlived their purpose, outlived their usefulness. And I don't want anybody to.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Dawn, did you have any thoughts or questions, or does it make total sense? I know you haven't been around at the year in review stage with our group at this juncture, but what's your any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I was thinking about for myself, and I like Michael's idea of doing it with a friend, because sometimes I can spray sunshine on anything, and I need to get to the guts of it. And Randy helped me do that with some stuff. And so Randy, you're not a Levite, you're fine. But yeah, I gotta, like be honest and go through those things, the good and the bad. And, I think that's gonna help me move forward in trajectory, not stuck.
Yeah. And I think, again, for most people, and I will say most of us, if we're not performing for the Zoom room or the room and whatever, and trying to convey this happy face, or we're not curating our content for Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, and we're being real. In other words, we're standing in front of the mirror as we're getting ready in the morning. I know this is true of me, and I will submit that everybody I've really talked to that got real and authentic, you can spray sunshine for the public, but your own mind is not fooled. And so you've got to peel it back a little bit and realize that you have accomplished things this year. Part of it, and again, I'm not going to take you to the advanced level of using this tool, but I'm willing to do that for anybody in this mastermind, one-to-one, or even we can even have subsequent masterminds, is that the reason in many cases you don't have the wins that you're disappointed that you don't have is simply because you really don't value those as much as you say you do. And for those of you who have been part of other training, if you find yourself saying, I need to, I should, I want to, I'll try, all of those are the language of imperatives. And all of those, when I hear you say that, or hear myself say that, because I have to listen to myself too, by the way, is I realize that you don't value what you just said that much. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, there's a guy by the name of Dr. John DeMartini talks about values. You can do it. One of the people that I've learned since I've been on this journey writing the book and stuff. And that is that, we do things that we want to do on a daily basis because it is a journey every day. And so knowing what we value, realizing that we have accomplished things, sometimes just making that list of wins may, number one, it'll be an encouragement. Number two, it may reveal, you may ask why was that? Why didn't I not, either why did I feel good about that, or why am I not valuing that? Because it is a win, right? But I will tell you that both of those things, when you write it down, be self-observant, self-aware, or like Dawn recommended and Michael recommended, get somebody with you to read that and say, this was a win. Because I guarantee you, if you got a friend, they're going to say, yeah, you actually did more than that. Actually, you're not even, or actually, that's good, but did you think, here's something maybe you want to have on your plan for coming. If you want to be that authentic and that vulnerable and that, real, then that's a beautiful thing. Ricky, did you have something?
I have been listening to an app on my phone this year called Imagine Golf, and there was a golfer that is now a more of a golf commentator, but he was on the European tour, and he got divorced, and he got addicted to painkillers, and got the very low in his life before he realized that when you're sad and you lose all hope, that's just the road to depression, or zombieism, as we call it. And you just have to be aware of where you are. And he was able to turn around with help of friends and faith and different things. But it just sort of struck me as how many people don't realize that sadness with all with no hope is just a direct road to depression, whether that can be in your personal life or your business life or whatever. And I think that the things that we all talk about and taking account of where we had been in this last year and where we want to go, that's just one of those big things that keeps you away from, even though you might be sad, you don't lose all hope.
Yes. And there's a famous guy, famous singer songwriter that said something that it's always sticks with me every day. And it's just that, wish I would have learned this truth many years ago. Be thankful for the days, good and bad, down on life's road. The miles become the teacher and the student learns real slow. Right? The point is, it's everything that we're going through on a daily basis, but frankly, the things that we accomplished, the wins over the last year, are the wins whether we like them or not. They're also the shortcomings over the last year are the shortcomings whether we like them or not. And what we have out plans is kind of on God's calendar, right? I mean, they're plans, but we've got to, they're not today. It's what we do today. And the intention of this is to encourage us that we have accomplished this last year. We have had wins in all aspects of our lives. And we can have wins even more next year if we go about it with intention. But the only thing we can do is what we do the next day. That's why the very last step in this is no regrets. Next steps is it's a journey every day. And we've got to start taking one step at a time. So, depression is really focused on the past with no hope, as you pointed out, Ricky. And anxiety is the kind of the flip side, although it's kind of the same chemical in our bodies. Also, it's excitement, but anxiety is focused on the future that is you don't know how to achieve, right? In other words, you're focused on something because you don't have confidence in that. So anyway, any other thoughts? We got about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna.
If you only focus on the goal and you reach the goal, that doesn't make you happy.
No.
So, there's lots of sayings out there like, is that all there is, my friend? So you can see the people have money out the wazoo and they're not happy. So you have to never lose the joy of the journey.
Yeah, Michael?
So this is actually specific for Randy, and sorry to kind of single you out, Randy, but some people will have the best intentions in mind, and I'm trying to be careful when I walk down this road, like the people around you, and asking you to retire. In their mind, that's a positive thing. But if you don't have a purpose, retirement, I've heard my father, I've talked to him quite a bit. He's 80 now, almost 80. And he talks about the fact of people not having a purpose and either passing away or coming back to work. And so what I would say is sometimes retirement is waiting for death. And I don't want that for you, Randy. And I don't think anybody would want that for you. And so I've shared with you personally, saying I was going to pray for you and I have my church pray for you, because I pray that your family understands that the biggest thing for you at this time is your purpose.
Yep. I will tell you.
I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I really do. And I just want to add just one quick thing, because it's kind of related to that. About 30 years ago, it was a group of young ladies who were part of my organization. I guess it was kind of a fad, but they used to have a thing called a dream board Anybody familiar with that?
Oh yeah, vision boards. Yeah,
Vision
that's
boards.
that's a
And
tool.
so they would take a big, piece of poster board, and they would cut out pictures of things that they wanted to do, trips, destinations, cars, you name it. And they would have discussions about, what if we don't get it? Well, we put it on next year's board. And then what if we do if we get it? Is getting it going to make me happy, or is what I'm going to do with it really going to make me happy? And I think that's important here, because all of these objectives are not means, they're not ends unto themselves. Okay, they are enablers. They help us grow. They help us help other people, and they help us make us happy. And Michael, I need to have you come over and sit down with my family and talk to them.
Well, that's the.
They may never
advantage.
invite you back, but
Well, Michael, thank you for sharing that, because Randy knows I've shared that with him. And frankly, that was the thing that scared the you-know-what out of me 6 months into my retirement 16 years ago, was I started doing, some research on why I should, and what I was supposed to do, and I wasn't sure, and where I was going to go and all that stuff. I knew I wanted to make an impact or a difference, but I didn't know what it was. And candidly, you can find it, by the way, the average life expectancy for somebody that retires in the way that the good, well-meaning people in your life may be wanting you to retire to, okay, including, I say you, me, anybody, is average life expectancy is 6 years. Remember, I said I retired 16 years ago. So you never give up on your life purpose. I'm a Christian, and I've said many times, is if you're a Christian, the best place you can be is heaven, right? And if you don't have a purpose here on the planet, why wouldn't God just bring you home?
Right.
So the point is, you have a purpose, you have value. And so does everybody here. And that's what we really want to encourage, is for us all to live that purpose and be a network, a community that supports each of us in that journey every day. Okay, thanks guys. It's 12:59. I just want to remind everybody, we're coming up to towards the end of the year, but the year's not over yet. Next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have mixers on Monday. We have the mixer. On Wednesday is our hybrid meeting. Next Friday, we have a mastermind. It'll be kind of this format. I'm open for suggestions. I have a couple people that have offered to come and lead it, so I may have somebody that'll surprise us between now and then. Actually, Chris Salem, who is my podcast guest, and I've been his podcast guest a little while back, on the 17th Friday is going to be leading our mastermind there. So you'll definitely want to put that on your calendar. And this group, thank you. This was valuable to me.
And tomorrow's men's breakfast.
Tomorrow's Men's Breakfast Network.
One comment for Ricky. I'm glad the title of the video show, or the podcast you're talking to, was Imagine Golf, because that's about all I'll be able to do is imagine golf.
Well, all I can say is, John, that Ricky is on my list of wins this year, because I found somebody to play golf with me that would put up with me, and I'm back out playing golf. And so that was something that
he drove you into a tree.
Yeah, and then I recovered from, I got a whole list of wins. I've created a whole list of challenges, but I got a whole list of wins that have to do with Ricky and some of you, each of you in here. So again, think about your relationships, think about things that have happened in your life. Just be honest, be open. Don't talk yourself out of a win. If it occurs to you as a win, write it down. Don't judge.
It was Imagine Golf, not imagine you're good at golf.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. Didn't say how quality. Yeah, so that's cool. The 20th, which is a Monday, is we're going to do a holiday get together at Porta, unless somebody comes up with a better answer, because we already have a crew of people that show up there every week. So, and we have some people that are moving on and things like that.
So that's this coming Monday?
Monday, the 20th.
Thank you, sir.
It's not this Monday. It's the
Got it.
last Monday of the year, because we won't have meetings in between Christmas and New Year's. We never do.
Yeah.
So the Fridays, Mondays, Wednesdays, whatever, between, you know, Christmas, in fact, the 20, what is it? 20 is New Year's, Christmas Eve, the 24th, I think. We won't have a meeting the 24th. We will probably have the mixer on that. We'll have that mixer on the 20th. And
Right.
and we'll probably do Wednesday, but we won't do anything else after that until after the new year. So just FYI, the calendar hasn't been updated yet. I apologize for that, but it'll be updated and you guys will know. Okay.
Got it.
Any other announcements, thoughts? Tomorrow is Men's Breakfast Network. Also, Patricia Ann Cole is going to be at the Christmas, what's it called? I'm trying to remember, but it's over at in the parking lot of Warehouse Church. There'll be about 5,000 people there. There's bounce houses, pictures with Santa, and vendors there. And Patricia Ann Cole will be selling some of her stuff there if you want to come out and support her. And it's a good way to inform. But like I said, last year during COVID, we had a pile of people show up. It was the first time they'd done it. So I mentioned that on Wednesday. So
Well, good luck.
that's out there on, that'll be from 11, what is it, 11 to 2, I think. So anyway, that's out there for men and women. So to do any shopping. The last thing I'll say is, in a form of PSA or whatever, is support your network members and local businesses during this time of year. Don't just rely on Amazon. Don't just rely on Walmart. You know, look beyond that and be an encouragement to your network and to the people in the community, right?
I will consider
Amen.
that. I will consider that an endorsement, because one of the things I'm promoting this year, and I do every year, is giving legal as a gift for legal security and identity theft protection. And I will donate between 10 and 50% of my commissions to your favorite cause, to your favorite charity, or your alumni association, whatever you might have in mind.
Well, my favorite cause is you, John. So go ahead. I'll just donate
There you
it to yourself. You know, my point is just do it, because it's the right thing to do. And when you think about, you know, what do I want to give, whether it's, you know, the security of Legal Shield or, you know, an encouragement of any kind, just do it. Just try to think close in first. And then, you know, if you're out of ideas, you know, you can always go to Amazon. They deliver next day if you got Prime, so for free. But just try and do that. Go to Mako, have him print you up some really cool Christmas stuffs, or a banner for, you know, your family to tell them how much you love them, or, you know, whatever it is. Just do something to do that. Okay. Any other things? We're now officially off the clock here. I thank you guys for contributing to our stuff. If you have any questions, I'm totally available to help through this year in review, and even, you know, plot your course forward if that's what you want to do. As Grover often says, I'm going to stop the recording right now because I want to say one thing. I don't want to record it. Is